thought the Super Bowl had a crazy ending last night, get ready for this offseason with the Eagles and Howie Roseman, because it's about to get nuts. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So I got to tell you, it was a little bit easier to wake up today knowing that the San Francisco 49ers met their doom last night. They met their doom, and it was nice to see them go out the way that they went out. I couldn't be happier with it, especially after all the news of Haason Reddick and what, he possibly could be traded or he's looking for a move. A lot of craziness going on with the Eagles. We even got to talk about Jalen Hurts and things like that. I want to say this real quick, though, before we get started. Thank you to everybody who was with me yesterday and watched the Super Bowl. It was a fun stream, had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. And not just the Super Bowl, but all year, with all the football streams we did. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. Of course, we will be doing it again next year, and not to mention, we got a crazy offseason coming. A lot of moves, a lot of things going on. We got the draft, we got free agency. And I want to see how this Eagles team goes out and gets better, okay? But this season's over. The Kansas City Chiefs once again win a Super Bowl. And people are asking me this question, right? And I want to address this because I've been getting this question a lot today. A lot of people are saying, well, maybe the Eagles should never have gotten rid of Andy Reid after 14 years. Maybe they should have kept him. And if they would have kept him, they somehow would have had all these Super Bowls. The truth of the matter is this. Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach. He is a surefire Hall of Famer. There is no question about it. But if you remember, back in 2013, that final year he was there, I believe it was 2012. But, man, that team wasn't responding to him. It was like it had run its course. Now, maybe they could have kept Andy and just cleaned complete house and started all over, and you would have rebuilt something, maybe, I guess, possibly. But I think the situation, and I think what people often forget about Andy Reid, okay, as great of a coach as he is, and he is a great coach, there's no question about it. And I, for the record, way before YouTube, when Reid was our quarterback, or was our coach, I was always a pro Andy Reid. I always liked Andy Reid a lot. I've never had issues with Andy Reid. So, Andy Reid. And my only issues back then with the Eagles were that you just didn't put enough talent around McNabb. You didn't give him enough talent. And I really think that's why, at the end of the day, the Eagles never got over the top, because it took too long for them to give him the talent he needed. But the difference with Andy Reid now, more than anything else that people have to understand, is he's got Patrick Mahomes. He has Patrick Mahomes. This kid is an absolute stud. Best quarterback in the league right now. Has a chance, when this thing is all said and done and his career is over, he's got a legitimate chance to go down as the greatest of all time. He's on that projection, right? That's where he's headed. 3 Super Bowl rings already. And I don't think he's going to slow up anytime soon. But Andy Reid getting Patrick Mahomes put him over the top. That's why he's got 3 rings. Patrick Mahomes last night was incredible. You look at, and that game was such a great game. And the overtime, it was, I mean, you're talking about all like pressure situations, right? You're talking about going down 3 with just under 2 minutes left, 2 timeouts, going down and kicking a field goal to tie it up, to go to overtime, to go down again by 3. And then drive down where you can't make a mistake. You can't, not get it. Patrick Mahomes takes that team, puts that team on his back, goes down the field, and scores a game-winning touchdown in overtime of the Super Bowl. All right? That's why Andy Reid has 3 titles. That's why he has 3 rings. Because he's got Patrick Mahomes. That's the big difference. If you put Patrick Mahomes on the Eagles back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we were going to those NFC Championship games, Andy Reid would have won 4 Super Bowls. All right? And he could have won with McNabb. They just didn't give enough talent. It just seems like every time you take talent away from Patrick Mahomes, it seems like it doesn't matter. It doesn't faze the kid. He's special. But, Andy Reid, great coach. But people ask me why is he winning all the Super Bowls now? He's got Patrick Mahomes. You can't just dismiss that. He's a great coach, one of the greatest of all time, if not when it's all said and done. But he has Patrick Mahomes, and that took him to another level. Okay, it just did, and it was great watching the 49ers lose. I got to tell you, the fact that it's coming out today, they're like, well, we didn't even know the rules of overtime. That's even better. And then, of course, I know you guys saw what Fletcher Cox said to Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel crying up a storm last night. But I thought this was great because we are, as Eagle fans, we are so sick of hearing the 49er fans say, if Purdy doesn't get hurt, we go to the Super Bowl and we win it. Now we know you got their Super Bowl, but you couldn't win it. And to see Deebo fail again, I'm sorry, it's a wonderful thing. Fletcher Cox wrote this. At 19 problems, keep the Eagles out your mouth, bro. I still got something you ain't got. Yeah, I've been holding this one in, son. So he's talking about his ring, right? He's got a ring, Deebo doesn't. And then the best part of the whole thing is EAD at the end. You can't forget the EAD at the end. This makes the whole tweet. For those that don't know, it means eat a D, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And as an Eagle fan, I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying the fact that the 49ers lost. And the thing is, I still don't have a problem with the 49ers per se. They hate the Cowboys, but they were so annoying and talking so much crap all year that it's just good that they've got humbled, And so, we'll see what this offseason brings. We'll see if they can pay everybody. As for our Eagles, listen, it's time to get going. The Eagles have to get this thing going in the right direction. The offseason is here, and we're hearing the stuff about Reddick, which is, like, absolutely crazy. Now you got this situation where, there are reports about Jalen Hurts and the fact that the Eagles are asking that Jalen Hurts be more vocal and jovial next year as a leader. That's what they're asking. That was reported by Mike Garofalo yesterday. John McClain followed it up with this, which I thought was interesting. He says, at Mike Garofalo report that Hurts has been receptive to the idea with leaders like Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox possibly retiring and suggests the quarterback and the team found some common ground in the exit meeting. So the team told him, we want you to be more jovial. We want you to be more outgoing, especially with some of our leaders, possibly retiring and not coming back. And they said Jalen Hurts was receptive to the idea. Why wouldn't he be receptive to the idea? Jalen Hurts is going to do what it takes to win, I have no doubt. McClain went on to say, Brian Johnson's firing may need to be smoothed over with the quarterback, especially considering the ESPN report that he wasn't happy with the direction of Nick Sirianni's offense. But a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore and scheme changes brings could satisfy the 25-year-old. And I think it will. I think, obviously, he wasn't happy with the offense. Obviously, we know now that they didn't really listen to the players. The coaches really didn't do what the players wanted to do. And now, if the big thing for Jalen Hurts to take to the next step, to go to the next level, is to be a little more outgoing, a little more jovial, I think Jalen Hurts will do it. The one thing about Jalen Hurts, and, to me, you could bring comparisons up to the reports that we got about Carson Wentz back in the day, where it was like they wanted Carson Wentz to be a little more inclusive to the whole team because they felt like he was, he had like a lot of clicks, right? He had his group of guys he liked. He always stuck with them, and he really didn't do a lot with all the other players around, and they wanted him to be a better leader in that way. Whatever reasons, his personality didn't really work. For Jalen Hurts, they just want him to be, a little more outgoing, I guess, speak a little more and a little more jovial. And I can understand that because sometimes when you look at him on the sideline, he looks so stoic. You can't tell if he's upset. You can't tell what's going on. And maybe players feed on that and they don't have a good sense of where to be. So these are things that Jalen Hurts has to work on. And I think they're fair things and they're fair criticisms that, the front office probably had. And I think the one good thing about Jalen Hurts will do whatever it takes to win. The one thing that he is different in that Carson Wentz didn't have is the players like Jalen Hurts. Players love and respect Jalen Hurts. There are a few things as a leader he could do that, people forget he's only 25 years old. He's only 25 years old. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a monster year coming up. I think it's going to be a huge rebound year. And I expect big things from him. And now we're seeing that the Eagles want him to be, more outgoing as a leader. And I hope that he will, and I'm sure he will. And I also hope that doesn't mean Kelsey isn't coming back or some of these guys don't come back. Because I do think we need some of these guys back, especially Haason Reddick. I'm not at all happy about the situation with Reddick. I do think that the Eagles are going to probably match any offer that Reddick gets. And I think Howie Roseman is probably doing this because he knows that if he lets Reddick test the market, Reddick is going to see he can't get what he wants. And then it'll be easier for the Eagles to negotiate. I think that's probably why he did it. And Reddick does deserve a raise, but he's not going to get $25 million a year. It's not going to happen. Not at 30 years old. So the offseason is upon us. And it is going to be so interesting to see what this team does. If you look at the coaches we've already hired, the Reddick report yesterday, the Jalen Hurts report we just talked about, if you look at these things already happening, this is a crazy offseason. Imagine when you get the start of free agency and whatnot. Man, I can't wait to see what happens this offseason. That's why every day I will be dropping videos. I will be doing more live streams. And it's going to be very active and very fun. And hopefully it'll go very quick. Usually the offseason goes, in my opinion, it's pretty quick. Like, once you get to March of free agency, from March to June is really quick. The part it gets real bad is like middle of June to training camp starting. Is like, it feels like a whole nother all season. It gets really slow. But Jalen Hurts, yes, he has to improve in certain areas as a leader. At 25 years old, there's no reason for me to think he can't. People have to remember, he's still developing. He's going to get better. And I think I would love more than anything else for Kellen Moore to go out there, get Jalen Hurts at an MVP level, get this offense humming, and then go out there and just shut the Cowboy fans up and make them really have to understand it was never Kellen Moore's fault. It was always their coach and their choking quarterback. With that said, I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, especially this time of year, remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. Congratulations, Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes on 3 Super Bowl rings. Peace. So I want to give a huge shout out to @HaleX2 because he sent me this, right? And it says, yo, Philly 500, hold my beer. Dallas still stinks. But if you guys check this out, it's got his beer, and then the top on the foam is imprinted Philly 500 right there. Look at that. Dallas still stinks. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen on the top of a beer on a foam. Of course, he's drinking Guinness, which is right up my alley. He clearly has taste in good beer. None of this Budweiser, Miller Lite, Coors Light crap. That's real beer. So shout out to Hale X2 for sending me this. I think this is awesome. Denzel Washington out.